I don't believe trade is the main driver of that, but I'll grant that it does happen sometimes.
Who cares about bringing money? Okay, the whole idea of running like a business.
I don't really think it's something that you should take. No,
the argument against charging people rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typically the philosophical argument.
No, that's a legitimate criticism. Because, I mean, you look at why USA was even invented.
I don't know. Like, I think a recurring theme or a recurring trend is that
less and less government. I want personal responsibility. I want personal accountability.
Say that I'm like left of liberal. I don't identify as like a communist or alternative stuff. Probably like a. Why would that be revelatory to know that water boils in?
About people who are diplomats or ambassadors from other.
Did I say that? Did I say that it was theoretically possible to include like it increase?
Natural society is a society where it's survival of.
You can. What you're describing is you can't do. First of all, not what I'm talking about. Second of all, we can't.
So basically, like, even your Lord and Savior Donald Trump didn't do the best job.
That nature, you refer to it as being conscious, or the conscious community.
So I think that gay marriage at the Supreme Court level actually.
No, but my man is in the building.
And I find it very interesting that fellow believers are.
Sure, there are examples, but these are minor examples compared to the ones that I'm giving. I'm talking about two.
It's unconstitutional, they shouldn't do it. But now they're arguing about, well, if they do it.
He looks good with a little blonde hair. Yeah, that's what your mom said last night, too.
Let's ignore USAID. That's obviously upsetting you, and I get that. Because
no, it's not upsetting me.
There's a reason I'm successful. There's a reason why I'm liked.
This is exactly why Democrats.
And
somebody's knocking on my door. Just a second. I'm sorry.
You handle that. I'll handle the crowd. It's probably his mom, to be quite frank. We've got the young, cringy liberal, also known as cringy leftist, I believe, here tonight on the Raging Tomato for our Throwdown Thursday. We're going to have some fun. If you are a left-leaning liberal of any sort, maybe you're excited about what he has to say, or maybe you want to hate watch him, be sure to go over. He is dual streaming, so be sure to go like, subscribe, send him money as well. Was it your mom?
Hello?
No? Was it your mom?
No. I live in a dorm room. It was housing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I go home tomorrow, so there's a bunch of commotion.
They're probably upset that you're using all the Wi-Fi to stream tonight. But tonight we're going to talk about illegal immigrants benefit America. Cringy, why don't you go ahead and kind of lay it out for me? Why do illegal immigrants benefit
so to be
America?
clear, I'm not like arguing for illegal immigration per se, but I am arguing that the legal immigrants who are here right now do economically benefit our country, right? We can just like look at the current literature, look at the studies, even just like going through the basic arguments in your head. You don't even have to really look at them. I think it's pretty clear to everybody who at least looks at the data that illegal immigrants are like an economic benefit to our country and an economic benefit for us. And then obviously this extends, it's like maybe a mass amnesty conversation, but that's a little off topic. But generally, I would say that illegal immigrants are fiscally positive for our country. They add to our GDP, and that they're a benefit to America and Americans.
Okay, that's a pretty broad claim, I'd say. Let's run through economically, fiscally, and GDP. Those are all kind of categorized under the same house. So give me some starters. Where are we? Give me a starting point where we benefit economically from them.
Sure. I guess we can start with fiscally. So fiscally, at least on the federal level, I know on the state level, there's arguments that they don't, or local level that there may be slightly, or that they might be a negative. But at least on the federal level, I think it's pretty clear that via ITIN numbers and other, mostly just that they're a net tax contributor to our country and to our nation. We can look at like the Cato Institute study. And the reasons for this is mostly just going to be that they don't really have access to the vast majority of federal welfare programs because they don't have a social security number. And so because they're paying in some and they're not really getting anything at all back, they're just going to be fiscally net positive on that front.
Well, how are they paying in and not getting anything out? Like, are they
Yeah.
using fake social security numbers to pay taxes?
No, they can use an ITIN number in order to pay taxes.
What is that?
Yeah, it's a number that people without social security numbers use to pay taxes if they're in the United States, like with maybe like a temporary visa or something. You need to pay taxes. You use an ITIN number.
Can you obtain that? Like,
Yeah, they can obtain that legally.
Legally, even though they're here illegally?
Yep.
That makes sense for me. How, like, wouldn't that kind of set off the tracker to say, hey, this person's here illegally, but they want to legally pay taxes?
Up until very recently, the IRS has been very clear that they will not use any of the data they collect in order to and share that data with ICE. So for the most part, up until very recently, illegal immigrants have been using ITIN numbers in order to pay income taxes, because potentially if a mass amnesty program is ever implemented, that seeing that they were paying taxes could look good for them, and would benefit them, and they would be able to get amnesty, and they'd be like, oh yeah, you're a good person, you're paying taxes, whatever, you can have citizenship or whatever.
So we want to take their money, but we don't want them to like file for legalities, like to become legal citizens.
I mean, I want them to become.
I mean, that sounds a little coercive, don't you think? Or
yeah, I want them to become. I want them to become legal citizens, obviously. But yeah, but just on the fiscal front, however, I think it's pretty clear that they are like fiscally net positive on the federal level at the very least.
That seems kind of. It's almost like we're kind of letting them get away with that. It's like, oh, pay in, keep it a secret, but keep doing what you're doing. Like we're kind of like letting them almost like pay us to be quiet.
Pay us to be quiet, like
pay us to not kick you out. I mean, if you pay your taxes and use this, it's kind of like a loophole. It's like,
well, yeah. The hope is that in the future, if Congress ever passes legislation like Reagan did to give mass amnesty, that their good tax record would help them obtain the amnesty. But,
well, then why not just become legal? Why not just go through the process to become legal?
Because because they're already in the country, they wouldn't be able to they wouldn't be able to essentially unless they were claiming asylum or whatever. It's not like reasonable to and it would be really reasonable to claim a green card. That takes way too long, and I'm not even sure that they can really apply for a green card if they're already in the US. That probably would set off DHS alarm bells. Yeah.
I mean, but that is a problem, though, right? I mean, if you're sneaking in, you're coming in illegally. So the efforts to go through to become legal are more of a risk than it is to just pay your IRS bill.
Becoming a legal immigrant or obtaining some sort of legal status is unnecessarily complicated and unnecessarily time consuming. It's just not reasonable for the vast majority of people who want to immigrate here. That's why people do end up immigrating illegally in the first place. And once you're already here, obtaining any sort of legal status is, if you're a legal immigrant here, obtaining any sort of legal status, unless like an amnesty bill specifically implemented, kind of is off the table. There's been, I think, court cases on this as well, which is that if you didn't enter the country lawfully, that you're probably not eligible for a green card whatsoever under current law. So there may be some specific bill Reagan passed in order to give these people the chance to have some sort of legal status.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Do you think if it was cheap, easy, and quick, everybody would want it?
I think if it was easier, we would have a lot more immigration, but I'm not okay with that. I don't see that as a problem.
Well, but do we want any and everyone to be able to just fill out a piece of paper and get a stamp of approval and say, thanks, come on in?
Well, it won't be like any and everyone. There'll still be a vetting system, where we probably won't be letting in violent criminals or anything. But
isn't that the time consuming portion of what happens?
The time consuming portion is that there's artificial caps placed on how many visas are assigned to each country per year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, the wait list is like ridiculously long. It's more of like a legislative roadblock than it is like any like actual problem with the system being slow or whatever.
Well, okay. What if we just opened up the cap, right? We completely removed the cap and anyone from China could just come in, fill out some paperwork, be vetted, and here you go. I mean, wouldn't that change the entire dynamic of America if they just just flooded in the gates?
You don't have to remove the cap completely, but like substantially raising it would be like is definitely necessary, I feel.
Why do we want more immigrants to have the ability to flood the gates?
I don't really see it as like flooding the gates more as it is like enriching the country. But the reason we'd want more immigrants is because, again, they're beneficial for us fiscally, they're beneficial for us GDP wise. They typically commit less crime, so they technically lower the crime rate. Just overall, I don't think there's any reason not to have immigration to our country. They help with programs like Social Security, right? The population is aging. We have a workforce that typically has like a really low unemployment rate. All of this stuff like immigrants help with, right? They're just very positive for our country.
So, but why would we? I guess. I mean, we offer other type of visas, right? We offer employment visa, like the H-1B visas. We offer education visas. Like we have different systems in place to allow people to come here to add on, right? Why would we need to like? I understand what you're saying in terms of, oh, well, they help with this, they help with that, but why can't we improve that internally instead of importing that in per se?
Well, I mean, when it comes to like the birth rate or whatever, we could have a conversation about that, but basically most of the programs when it comes to trying to increase the birth rate or whatever, they don't seem to really work, or incentivized pregnancy doesn't really seem to work. So I think when it comes to like having more people to keep programs like Social Security going and having a like productive workforce, I think that immigration is just necessary. It's just going to be like necessary on that front. I think that immigration is just going to be like a necessary part of the U.S.'s continual existence as it always has been.
Mm-hmm. Now, but you said it was beneficial at a federal level, but it wasn't at a state level.
I said it's a debate as to whether they're beneficial at the state level, and / local level.
So, what would be the pros at a state level that they would have?
What would be the pros? Obviously, increasing GDP, adding to your workforce, mostly like the economic benefits overall that you would see because of immigration at the state level.
And so that's it.
I mean, yeah, they also like would technically lower crime rates as well. But yeah, I think at the state level, those would probably be like the main benefits you would be seeing from immigration. They also create business. They also have I think are more likely to open businesses. Immigrants are. So yeah, there's that as well.
Well, legal immigrants would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
an illegal immigrant wouldn't be able to open up a business.
Yeah, I mean, like an illegal business or whatever. But yeah,
you want them to open up an illegal business? You think that's beneficial?
An illegal business? Do I think it's beneficial? I think it's beneficial to our economy
to open up an illegal business.
I think it's benefit. Yeah, it would be beneficial to our economy. Correct.
But then if it's illegal, then they're not going to be paying taxes and being registered and doing all the things that they need to do.
I mean, not
like
necessarily.
Black market.
They could be via an ITIN number again, with the income tax, and then on top of that, they aren't able to. They aren't really able to like take any of the subsidies or any of the benefits that the federal government lends out for the most part. So I would say like almost entirely immigrants are going to be beneficial to both states and the federal government.
What about are they pulling on any type of help like welfare systems, WIC, where insurance, where it's what is it? What's that called? Like Medicare, Medicaid, stuff like that. Are they pulling those types of items?
No, they aren't eligible for those programs.
We know that for a fact.
Yes.
Okay, so they're economically helping, and that's the only benefit. They're economically putting more into the system than they are taking out.
Yep, that is their bet. That they're putting in more to our system. They are adding to our workforce. That is their benefit.
Don't we have a high unemployment rate right now?
Yeah, it's mostly. I would say that's mostly just due to Trump's current policies causing our unemployment. Well, it's not high per se, but it's higher than it should be. Or I think would have been if it wasn't for Trump being in office. But I don't think that's because of the immigrants or anything of the sort.
No, you just think people aren't going to get jobs, or what?
People aren't going to get jobs. I think the tariff policy and some other things have caused uncertainty in the market, and just making employers like less willing to hire. But that's kind of speculation.
So even with that happening, you would still want us to like open the floodgates and let more people in to taking jobs that already are in a deficit?
Jobs are not necessarily okay. Well, I think we have to consider a couple of things. One is that immigrants aren't going a lot of times aren't going to be working in the same industries that native citizens are going to be. So there's a separation between where they're even competing. And then the second thing we have to consider is that immigrants also exert a demanding force onto the economy, which just causes an increase in supply. In order to increase supply, companies will create more jobs. So I can send you over to studies. There's like 5 or 6 of them, but basically the literature is pretty set that immigration, legal and illegal, has a neutral impact on the job market, and even may increase native workers' wages in some cases.
Okay. So everything I'm hearing so far is about money, right? Everything's just, oh, we'll boost our ecosystem pretty much in terms of financially. Are there any other societal concerns we should be worried about, though, in terms of other ideologies or worldviews or I mean,
if you're a Christian nationalist, I'm sure the Hispanic Catholic illegal immigrants, I'm sure you don't care about them or their culture that much. Culturally, they tend to like commit less crime, so it seems to be the case that seems to be the case. They have a way higher workforce participation rate. So, overall, like culturally, if I think there's any conservative would say that these people would be like more ideal since they typically tend to be more Christian.
Okay, but that's just like Mexico, Latin America, right? That's coming up. What about other countries?
Yeah, it's different for other countries, but the vast majority of illegal immigrants are Hispanic.
Are they?
Overwhelmingly so? Yeah, overwhelmingly.
Okay. All right. What about education, IQ levels? Are we concerned about that? Any issues there?
They do tend to have lower education or not be as educated, but there is like a labor shortage in jobs that require less education there. So I'm not too concerned with that. And plus it means that they're not competing with the more highly skilled native workers, which is what everybody's concerned about anyways. That's why people complain about H1 visas all the time. So
I mean, at this rate, slavery sounds like a great option. To me, that's what it seems like. It sounds like you're pushing, and I know that's not what you're pushing, but if you could bear with me for a moment, come over here. You're too stupid. You work these low-level jobs, and hey, pay into this system, but you can't have any benefits from us, but you will pay us to be here, right? And it, like how much closer to slavery can you get in that instance?
Well, I'm not advocating for like an increase in illegal immigration. I'm advocating for a mass amnesty program, but again, that's a separate argument. And I'm arguing that the illegal immigrants who are here benefit our nation, right? Obviously, I don't want these people to like have some sort of legal status. I don't want them always to be like exploited by the system. I don't think that's a good thing.
Well, I mean, and bear with me, because if you are here illegally and that system that you are illegally tapping into is exploiting you, it's kind of on you to deal with it, right?
Maybe
like you're kind of at the whims of what's being given to you or not given to you. You're putting yourself in that situation because you did it illegally, because you couldn't wait long enough, because you didn't want to wait on the waiting list, or because you didn't want to deal with the paperwork, or maybe you have a bad background or something like that. Like you didn't want to go through the proper process, so now you're stuck at the whims of whatever they grant you. And at this rate, it just sounds like straight slavery. You're saying bring on mass amnesty, but then we're rewarding bad behavior, and then we're just telling everyone, hey, it's okay, you did it the wrong way. In order to fix it so that we don't exploit your ass, we'll just go ahead and give you mass amnesty, let everybody stay and deal with whatever they got to do, and go from there. But you can nip that in the bud by stopping it at the gate, or when people are here illegally, you send them back home and make them do it the right way.
Yeah, well, the problem and why I don't advocate for mass deportations is because they're ludicrously expensive, and I think, as we've seen with the Trump administration, would probably cause like way more human rights abuses than are already going on in like the illegal immigrant like communities and circles, right? I just want to like be clear. Illegal immigrants working today, most of them aren't slaves, right? They're doing this optionally. They technically could leave if they wanted to. There is human trafficking going on. I do understand it, and I am aware of that. And some sort of mass amnesty program that wouldn't incentivize illegal immigration. The historical data from like Reagan giving amnesty back in the 80s shows that there was actually a decrease in illegal immigration post mass amnesty, not an increase after.
Because you're not tracking it that way. Of course, if you grant it, then it's not going to track the same way that it tracked the first time.
Well, I don't know why I would believe that there would be an increase if the historical data doesn't seem to like prove that to be the case.
Well, yeah, if you grant mass amnesty and then, we didn't have as much illegal immigration afterwards, you just granted everything. Of course, those numbers are going to drop.
Okay, like why would you think when people will be more incentivized to immigrate here legally because they think they're going to get mass amnesty again?
Well, there's nothing. They made their way over, so everybody got it. Everybody got it that wanted it, right? Everybody that's here is already here, so it's not illegal after that.
Yeah, but no, like we saw a decrease in like the amount of illegal immigrants coming into the country. Like there's a decrease in that.
Because you're not tracking it. Why would you track it after that?
But we did track it though.
Are we? Like we're tracking, like it doesn't make sense to, if we grant mass amnesty, then what more is to track after that? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Like what do you mean, like more to track? Like track illegal immigrants or illegal immigration?
Right. If we're granting mass amnesty, then everybody's good.
Yeah, we still would track after that. We still track those numbers. Mass amnesty probably would only apply to like a set group of people. But it would be the majority of legal immigrants. But right, like you haven't committed a crime, you've been in the country for like more than 2 years. Some like basic qualifications like that. Vast majority of legal immigrants would be able to obtain some form of amnesty or legal immigration status, and everything would be pretty merry on its way from there.
Okay. So what else do we have to gain on a state level? I want to hear more than just economically. I want to hear more than just money, because money does make the world go round, but it also doesn't, to me, it doesn't sit as like that should be our, like that's not the end all be all. Money comes and goes.
I mean, you could probably make some sort of argument that because we're giving these people some form of legal status, that they're going to be more inclined to integrate into other kinds of communities, and this would like increase social cohesion, this and that or whatever. Overall, I would say that's probably the other probably main benefit you might see from that you might see from illegal immigrants or somewhere like mass amnesty program. Yeah.
So they start to integrate into other communities.
Yeah. Increase in social cohesion. Yeah.
You could do that legally too, you know?
Yeah, you could. I mean, yeah, people could immigrate here legally, but there's a population of legal immigrants here. You have to do something about them. And I think there's very clear like two choices you have, and one of them's ridiculous and one of them is makes way more sense. So I'm going to go with the option that makes the most sense, obviously.
To just grant it across the board.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Well, what kind of stipulations would you have on that?
Having committed violent crime, have been in the country for more than 2 or 3 years.
And that's it?
Yeah, that's about it. I think they're in the Reagan amnesty bill. They also specified they couldn't be in welfare for I think 5 years post being granted amnesty. We could do something like that, or a fine if people are really butthurt. But yeah, I think probably those two things.
Would
3
you
or 4
want
qualifications.
Would you want them paying taxes too? Have been paying taxes as well?
Yeah, they would pay taxes. Obviously.
No. I mean, like, in order to grant mass amnesty.
Would I want them to be paying taxes as well? Probably not. I don't think
Like
that would be
prior as a requirement. Would you want them to?
No, probably won't be a requirement. No.
So if they have been in the country for at least 2 years, didn't commit any crimes, but they haven't been paying any taxes with your special number that you said earlier, you should just go ahead and grant them amnesty anyways.
Yep. Then they'd be required to start paying taxes anyways. So yeah.
So, I mean, earlier you were saying that was an advantage, was that they could utilize and pay taxes with this special number, just to say, like, look, I know I'm here illegally, but I'm still in good faith paying my taxes and
well, yeah, that's the idea for the illegal immigrants. They don't really know whether a mass amnesty program will be implemented or not, or whether that will even be a qualification. That's the reason they typically pay in via an ITN. Or I'm not saying that would be a qualification necessarily. I don't think it should be. I don't really see a reason that it would be.
Well, because then you've been a net negative.
No,
you've been making money, and maybe you're obviously, like buying stuff locally and circulating money that way. But who's to say you're not sending money back home? So you're not contributing into the system if you're making money or even cash, right? If you're making money and it's not contributing towards the very system that would be granting you the amnesty.
Well, I mean, like it would. I mean, the money that illegal immigrants makes would be obviously they have to buy stuff to live, so they're going to be into the economy. If we gave them some sort of amnesty, their wages would almost certainly increase due to labor laws and regulations. I see, like, I don't think it really is like any argument that that we shouldn't give, even if they haven't been paying in for 19 or that we shouldn't give them some form of like immigration status. It just makes sense to me.
I would very much like to not pay my taxes.
Yeah.
How long do you think I can get away with not paying my taxes?
I don't really know, but like then again, you have to consider that you do have access to things like SNAP and Medicare and Medicaid. These people do not have access to those programs for the most part. Yeah.
But I also didn't choose to go to a completely different country, enter it illegally, and try to work around a system on the black market kind of way, and do things illegally. And then, you can't expect any type of benefits from that. Why would you expect benefits when you're doing something wrong?
I'm not saying like what their expectation should be. That's one conversation we could have, but I'm telling you, like, I'm talking policy-wise.
They could get away with not paying taxes for, let's say, 5 years, and then somebody says, you know what, let's just give them amnesty. Here you go, and then boop, there you go.
Like I love pro clutching about people not paying taxes too, but I think the reality of the situation is that in order to benefit American citizens as much as possible, the solution to the illegal immigrant problem is just probably going to almost certainly be giving them amnesty. Like, and there's no sense in which mass deportation isn't a huge fiscal drain on the federal government, and B leads to like some sort of recession. Like there's no reality where those two things like aren't going to be the case.
But then you said that if they gave mass amnesty, then they would be eligible for like Medicare, Medicaid, grants, benefits, all of those other things, right?
I mean, depends on the policy solution. If it's anything like Oregon's program, they wouldn't be eligible for those things for like 5 years post obtaining amnesty. So we could do that if people wanted to. But yeah.
I mean, that sounds so like they've been, let's assume, making money. They're here illegally, they're making money, and then I get amnesty and poof, now I have access to all of these benefits, even though I haven't even been paying into a system.
I mean, they would start paying into the system at that point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that, you do understand how that kind of like, well, I've been working since I was 15 years old. I've been paying into the system for a very long, actually 14 years old. I've been paying into the system for a very long time. At any point when I decide to tap back into it, I very well have earned my place, right? And then, so you're saying somebody can come here, be here illegally, make cash or under the table type of stuff, or whatever, pay no taxes, pay nothing into the system, give back nothing. Yeah, they might circulate a little money locally, but it's not going to be enough to like make a difference. And then all of a sudden we grant them amnesty, and then poof, now you have access to all of those things that I've been working my ass off for years in order to ensure
like
that
when
I have available to me.
Yeah, I mean, like when immigrants immigrate here, so they have like access to some social programs that they're entering the system as like a new person into their country, and they're starting to pay as well as receive some benefits potentially. That's just kind of how immigration works. So this kind of applies to all immigrants. I don't really see this as like anything unique of illegal immigrants or an amnesty program.
Well, if you're here illegally, right, you're not paying into the system. Unless you're
but they're not really.
in
They're
good
also
faith paying in
not really
federal taxes.
They're not really receiving anything either. So I mean, it's in that sense, it's kind of fair, right? They're not receiving anything. They're not really paying.
That's what I'm saying. But you're saying grant them mass amnesty, and then poof, benefits magically appear. So I skipped the waiting list. I skipped the line. I jump into this country. I work around the system. I operate illegally. I pay nothing into the system. And then I hope and I plead that they vote in order to put legislation in a certain way so that I can poof magically appear, and now I'm legal, and now I can start paying for stuff. A mass amnesty. I'm assuming even getting citizenship into a country, it costs a lot of money, does it not?
Well, what do you mean costs?
Do you know the process of gaining citizenship?
The person gaining citizenship, or to the government?
The person obtaining citizenship, like, isn't it pretty costly to go through the whole system?
I think it depends on how much you want to wait, and there's a bunch of other factors. But yeah, I think it can be pretty costly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you skip the line. You don't pay the money that we require for like fee services in order to go through that process. You skip all those things. And then all of a sudden you get benefits and oh, good job. Now you can pay taxes. They're probably a net negative on taxes anyways. Anybody that makes under a certain amount of money is pretty much going to be a net negative. They're going to get all their tax credits back, right? Actually, if not more. So they're completely a net negative. Then we're still paying to give them benefits, Medicaid, Medicare, dental, whatever, all of these things for anybody underneath a certain household income marker. Right. So far, the only thing I've determined is that they become a net negative. If you give them mass amnesty, they become a net negative.
Well, why would you assume that? It doesn't really make sense. Like the data for legal immigrants shows that legal immigrants are fiscally positive over their lifetimes. I am assuming that would be the same thing for any illegal immigrant who becomes a legal immigrant. And again, this feels like a really weak argument. We have two options.
You just told me that legal immigrants, right? Legal immigrants can be a net positive. They're probably the ones who do it the right way. They're probably the ones that pay the amount to process in and to obtain citizenship and go through that system. They probably already are coming in with money. The illegal immigrants that we've already discussed have low IQ levels. They work the low labor jobs. Like you've already told me all of those things. I never said
low IQ levels. I never said. I said that they're typically lower skilled.
I asked what about the education. You said that it was lower IQ.
And I didn't say lower IQ. I said less educated or lower educated. I don't know where we're getting this IQ stuff.
Okay, fine. Lower education. Okay, so citizens. Low on the education totem pole, however you want to call it. Low skilled. They work the low skilled jobs. Low skilled jobs do not pay well. So I'm going to assume the bulk of them are going to be making under $30,000 a year, right?
Potentially, they typically have a higher workers' participation rate, and they also typically work longer hours as well. Just because if you're willing to cross all the way over into this country, you tend to be a pretty determined person. And because of that, a lot of times when it comes to immigrants, they just typically tend to be like higher achievers in general. And then because of that, a lot of times they earn higher income levels and pay in more taxes and are less likely to consume welfare as well.
For illegal or legal?
Both.
I want illegal. I want the ones that you want to grant amnesty to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, those ones would the same thing would apply to those ones as well. Correct.
So that's the same numbers on both of them.
If you're willing to think about this, if you're willing to cross the Rio Grande, potentially unalive in barbed wire, just to come to our country for an economic opportunity, you're going to probably be a pretty determined person, pretty hard worker, and you're probably going to try to make as much money as possible. Those kinds of people, typically are like a fiscal net benefit to our country.
And how much do they make a year?
How much should you make a year?
Illegal immigrants.
I think right now it's like 20,000 is the estimate.
That's still below the poverty line.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah, a lot of them typically make not a lot of money. Yeah, they're exploited.
So
they don't have access to our labor laws. That makes sense. If you give them amnesty, they would then employers would be required to pay them like a certain amount. They would probably end up making even more than they already do right now. Right? They'd be able to open legal businesses. I'm sure they would prosper.
I understand what you're saying by if you're willing to, cross the Rio Grande, peel away through barbed wire, whatever, you're a high achiever, right? Those are great characteristics. Like, congratulations, right? But if you're not willing to go through the paperwork to become a legal citizen, then why would you be willing to go through the paperwork to open a legal business?
Okay, because opening a legal business is so much easier than it is to get a green card get a green card and then become a legal U.S. citizen. Getting a green card, becoming a legal U.S. citizen is like a lot of times a 10-year-ish process, and a lot of people, again, like, they have families that they have to feed. They are running away from cartels. There's a bunch of things. These people, they're people, families, and stories, and that's why they need opportunities. That's why they come here, right? I'm willing to be sympathetic to these kinds of people, right? They're people with pasts. I don't, and when it comes down to it, regardless of what necessarily their past is or whatever, when I am presented with two options, which is the harming of native U.S. citizens who are already here via mass deportation, which is a gigantic fiscal burden and would almost certainly cause some sort of recession, and a mass amnesty program, which seems to have negligible, if any, downsides whatsoever, I'm obviously going to be choosing mass amnesty every time.
It just doesn't sound productive. So far, I'm hearing empathy, feel bad for people with bad situations in other countries, bad. So they hop the Rio Grande, climb through barbed wire. And as a survivor, I can understand why they'd be motivated, right? They're motivated to get away from whatever thing they're running from. That would make sense. A lot of people are motivated that way, but that doesn't mean that we should just grant amnesty. And overall, I don't know if you've ever heard of the word suicidal empathy. And basically, you feel bad for people and you let them do things, you give an inch and then they start taking a mile. And then that empathy, oh, I feel bad, right? It's like feeling bad for the dog that's, laying on the ground in the middle of the road, and then you go to help it and then it bites you, right? The empathy piece, you should always be cautious and not just say, I feel bad, right? We can assume all of these things.
We can disregard my empathetic side completely, and we can just look straight at what are the economic consequences. And if you look at the economic consequences of a mass deportation program, it is a recession. It is a $1 trillion fiscal burden. Just basically those two things are guaranteed. There really isn't a way around those two things. It's probably mass human rights abuses as well, depending on the way you do it, but almost certainly mass human rights abuses. So when we look at the mass deportation program and look at the mass amnesty program, which the downsides are, there's going to be people who some people are going to be butthurt about because they didn't go through the system fairly. Then obviously I'm going to pick some of the butthurt citizens rather than the complete and total economic degradation of our country for a certain amount of time.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, when I have two options between some people being butthurt about these people not going through the process fairly, and then economic degradation of our country and economic catastrophe, I'm just going to choose the couple butthurt citizens every time. There's no question.
I don't think it's a matter of being butthurt. I think most people still find it to be a net negative overall because there are still systems in place that these people tap into. You say, oh, well, they don't use this system and they don't get grants for this and they don't get these types of benefits. I'd be willing to bet that, yes, the fuck they do. Right. I mean, even having access to, you could still put kids in school, even if their parents are illegal immigrants. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's access to our resources
Are you
and our
considering the
tools.
net benefit? Are you considering the taxes those children are paying down the line? Because if you're not doing that, you're already failing, and and you're already actually just one of the problems of one of the studies that critiques or says that illegal immigrants are at fiscal net drain is that they count the benefits that their children consume, but they never count the taxes those children pay in the future. If we're only counting it like this, we're already like fundamentally failing at calculating their economic like drain or economic benefit.
I mean, you're looking at like at least a 10-year investment there.
Yeah, immigrants are a long-term investment into our country. If we're looking at this like really short-sightedly, we're never going to understand as to why these people are like okay or are a net benefit to our country or a net positive or is okay to have immigration into our country.
Are we guaranteed that that student is eventually going to be a tax-paying citizen later?
We're not guaranteed that somebody coming down the birth canal isn't going to end up as like a violent murderer who's a U.S. citizen, right? It's just like on average, these people benefit society, so this is going to be like a good thing for us.
What other things would be net positive for that child, like the child of illegal immigrants?
But like net positive to the child, net positive to society.
To society, having the child. I mean, I'm not all about like booting kids out, but they come with typically the parents, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to almost certainly be fiscally net beneficial over their lifetimes. They're going to be more educated than their parents, so they're probably going to make more money. Overall, I think the that's pretty like set out and clear on this one. I think these kinds of people, these kinds of children overall are going to probably be fiscally net beneficial, and obviously they're going to add to our GDP. They're going to create businesses. They're going to help their local communities.
Now, wouldn't they still have access to all of like the Medicare, Medicaid type of programs as children when they're here, even though their parents are illegal immigrants?
Yeah, they would.
All of the healthcare, dental, probably some educational grants for college, so on and so forth. So why are we taking care of everybody else's kids and not our own?
We are taking care of our own kids.
Are we?
Our own kids also have access to those opportunities.
What's the like starvation rate in America for kids?
I don't think what do you mean starvation?
How many kids go hungry? How many kids have access to these types of benefits? How many?
To my knowledge, like people actually starving in
grants?
America isn't really a thing. There's such a thing as food insecurity. There's such a thing as food insecurity in some areas, but for the most part, when it comes to like people actually not being able to buy or obtain food, that really isn't a problem. Most of the research I've looked at seems like more of like nutritional value or like how nutritious the food is more of a problem. Like there's things like food deserts or whatever. We talk about that, but it's a separate conversation. These children are going to ultimately be a net positive to our society, and this is an investment into our country.
So what about the education system, scholarships, grants, private schools, colleges, universities, all of those fun things? How many children of illegal immigrants have access to all of that versus just your average kid here in America?
I'm not quite sure on the number of illegal immigrant children who are U.S. citizens. I'm not quite sure on that exact number. I'm actually kind of trying to figure out like really how that's like relevant to the convo, but
well, I mean, you keep saying that they don't use our resources and they only give back, but I would kind of look at it the other way.
I'm not saying the children will use their resources. I'm saying if you're not looking at their future benefit, then you're already failing at like analyzing whether or not they are actually good for our country.
Well, you start off with a net negative, right? And so far they're pulling our resources, our systems, all of the stuff that we put together for our children, right? And they're able to tap into, their parents are able to tap into our systems for our children that we've built. And they're here illegally utilizing our stuff, right? Even though we're the ones paying into it. We're the ones that built the infrastructure. We're the ones that are doing all the things that we need to do. And they're able to tap into it and potentially take resources from our children. Like if you had kids and I had kids and I came over to your house
It's
and
not like
emptied out your
this.
refrigerator and gave it to my kids, like you'd probably be pretty pissed, right?
This game isn't like this person takes this and now there's resources are no longer accessible to anybody else. This is how it works, right? There's economic feedback effects. There's people who take in and then they give back. If you're not considering any of that, then we're not really analyzing this in like an objective manner or like any sort of like objective sense. We're just kind of again, this is like the butthurt citizen rhetoric where it's rhetoric where it's just like these people are taking resources that are for uses in children, how dare they. We need to support all of them, even though like you look at the effects of the mass deportations and it's like economic catastrophe. And I'm like, I don't know how you could possibly be complaining about your economic outcomes and then advocate for this thing that would like wreck our economy. It makes no sense.
Well, what are the numbers for like systems that illegal immigrants do tap into that do have access to? Because I know there's systems out there.
I think they have access to emergency SNAP benefits, as in I think the executive, who's ever the executive, would have to give some sort of order in order to like invoke those, and then they could potentially receive some of those as well. I think there's a few other obscure welfare programs that they may or may not have access to. But other than that, like the big ones, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all this stuff they don't have access into.
States don't offer benefits to illegal immigrants. Like, what about sanctuary cities and so on and so forth?
I mean, if the people in the sanctuary cities vote to give access to benefits to illegal immigrants, and that's the decision of the population in that sanctuary city. If Californians are humanitarians and they want to give money to people who aren't just Californian, then that's their prerogative. I'm not going to get away with them doing that.
So what would be your total, like, let's fix the world in one clean sweep. Let's just make it all perfect and the world will be a better place.
Like my policy prescriptions, okay. I'm trying generally just going to be like an expansion on visas and expansion on visas and visa caps, right? Probably defunding CBP, Border Patrol, and ICE as well. Those they're gigantic fiscal burden to us. Mass amnesty for people who have been here for 2 years or longer, have committed a violent crime or something like that. I think generally these programs in conjunction, or just like kind of policy platform in conjunction, would not only mitigate future illegal immigration because it's easy to immigrate here legally, but would also solve the illegal immigrants who are already here.
It just sounds too easy. It's like one of those, like, that sounds easy on paper, but sounds like it's going to be a headache later.
Why do you think it would be a headache later, though? Like the historical data doesn't really point to it. I don't really think there's any like
what do Americans get out of it then?
What do we get out of it? Yeah, what we get out of it is, I mean, again, not having as many people being human trafficked within our country. What we get out of it is now a new invigorated workforce that can add to our economy, to our GDP, that can pay back into our economy. We get probably benefits to like Social Security probably not being as close to insolvency, since these people tend to be younger and they're going to be paying into it for longer, right? These are all the benefits that Americans would get. And then most of all, the benefit that Americans are going to get is that the discussion surrounding illegal immigration, Border Patrol, ICE, all of the stuff, that we can end this discussion. We would know that at this point that no, we don't need to be paying this much for ICE agents. No, we don't need to be having mass deportations or advocating for mass deportations. We figure this stuff out. It's very clear that having immigration, having even what somebody calls substantial amount of immigration, is going to be good for our country.
I mean, I think immigration overall is good. I don't think anyone's a downturned towards immigration, but I think people just want you to do it the right way. I think like, if I could say for us people that are always butthurt, all we ask is just do it the right way. Why is it so hard? Like, okay, there's a waiting list, there's a cap, there's a fee, right? Why are we giving empathy to those who can't be patient enough to wait?
We don't even have to give empathy to them. We could just look at this as a point to what was best for the American citizen. And in every world, in every modality, objectively, it is my first order truth. It is principally true that the mass amnesty program is way better than mass deportation. There's just no argument. It's like, I don't want mass amnesty. They're taking away resources from my children. I want mass deportation instead. I want to cause a recession, and I want to spend $1 trillion on deporting these brown people. Like, there's no world in which the mass deportation policy is going to be better.
I don't think it's a brown people problem.
I mean, well, here's what I think. I can give all of the arguments to everybody, to all of the conservatives, for as to why illegal immigrants are beneficial, or as to why we need more immigration, and then to that, and then when I get the exact same response back that I just rebutted, I can only assume the reason they don't like immigration, or they don't like immigrants, or they don't think that illegal immigrants are net positive, is because they just don't like brown people. That is kind of the thing. It's like I don't really think there's any other explanation for it other than like either some extreme forms of cognitive diffidence or just like pure xenophobia.
Let me ask you this. Do you like prisoners? People who commit crimes?
I don't tip it. Depends on the crime. If you're jaywalking, I don't really care. If you're
no, I mean, like they're in federal prison or
not
state
really.
prison.
No.
Why?
Because they're like violent to society a lot. Yeah.
They're what?
They're like violent typically, or
not all of them.
Society.
Some of them are just some of them are white collar crimes. They're in prison for white collar crimes.
I mean, yeah, fraud. Yeah, defrauding people too. Probably isn't good either.
Would you want to be friends with them? People that are in prison?
No.
Would you want to be friends with someone who has been in prison?
Depends.
They went to prison for being a drug dealer, like massive drug dealer. Would you want to be his friend when he gets out?
If they've reformed, sure.
You think, okay. So if they haven't reformed and they're committing that they were in prison because they committed something illegal, right? The key word here is we have rules. There's a crime, right? Or there's legal consequences for rules, whether it's local, whether it's misdemeanor, federal, whatever. The point is, people typically don't like people that break the rules because we like to follow the rules.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
But like we could here. All right, well, here's an example. I understand the argument you're trying to get at here, which is that they're breaking the rules, therefore you should deport them because we need to follow their law, rule of law, whatever. This kind of maximalist enforcement of the law just isn't realistic in any world. If this was like the kind of law enforcement people wanted to see, then I feel like I'd see a lot more conservatives advocating for locking up 15% of the population because they've committed a felony by simply possessing marijuana, right? But I don't see people advocating for that because that's clearly ridiculous, like clearly absurd. And so we don't enforce the law like this. We don't maximally enforce the law. We don't go after every single crime. We do selective enforcement to an extent. And that would be like the same thing here, but like not really, because we would be amending the law to say that these people are actually getting exception. So
you hurt my brain sometimes, Cringy, but I'm going to let the panel handle it. If you would like to join into Q&A with Cringy, whether you agree with him or whether you disagree with him, feel free to come up, either give him a pat on the back and tell him all good things, or argue with him. I tried to keep my end simple. I'm sure you guys would have more details otherwise. All right. So B Sharp says with the Big 10, depends on how long this is. I may join, but I have work tomorrow. Anyways, I don't believe illegal immigrants should be here. One reason, they get what someone who came here legitimately would get. Any thoughts to that, Cringy?
Same argument that I've given before. It's like complete and other economic catastrophe, or butthurt, or pleasing the butthurt citizen. I'm not going to please the butthurt citizen.
I don't think it's not butthurt. It's, again, I mean, people don't like rule breakers, right? Especially when rule breakers get to take an advantage of a system that's meant for rule followers.
Yeah, but like I don't just do punishment for the sake of punishment. I do punishment for the sake of like, I don't know, improving society. This seems to be like,
is it punishment though? How is it punishment?
Deportation is absolutely a punishment.
I'm sending you back where you came from. I'm not like sending you off to some random island in the middle of nowhere where we just go and drop you there and like, hey, survive on your own, buddy. Right? We're not punishing you. We're sending you back where you started. We're putting you back where you're still whole, right? I'm still putting you back where you came from.
I think like ripping people out of communities who have been there for like years and years and years and been working, even if they're an illegal immigrant, I would say that if I was an illegal immigrant, I was ripped out of that, I would see that as some form of punishment. Absolutely.
Punishment would be negating where you started, right? If you started in I don't know, down in Mexico somewhere, and you came from there over the Rio Grande and hopped the barbed wire fence and yada, yada, yada. And even 10 years later, I don't care what you've built here, you still built it without doing the one freaking thing that we asked you to do from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. Like, again, there's a complete economic catastrophe, or
it's consequence. It's consequence for actions.
Do you really think it is justified to deport 11 million people and have an economic catastrophe, a recession, and spend $1 trillion simply to like enforce the law?
Well, is it realistic that we would be able to deport 11 million people?
Nope. That's why we shouldn't do that.
Right. So I'm okay with doing what we're doing and working on what we got to work on now. I'm not saying like that we would be able to physically financially we wouldn't be able to round up 11 million people. Like that's like my God, where's Santa Claus at when I need him, right? You wouldn't be able to physically do that. That would be impossible. But in order,
so you just shouldn't do it then. Yeah.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm saying you're doing like a zero-sum thing. Like we either give mass amnesty or we deport 11 million people. Nobody is in agreement with either of those. That's like ridiculous on both ends.
Like,
right?
What's the alternative there? I think it is like literally an economy.
The alternative is if you're illegal and I find out you're illegal, I have the ability to bye, you're gone, right? And as the system works through it and ICE does whatever it needs to do, and it sounds like ICE is working on very specific target areas or people or whatever in the meantime. But overall, like, it's not like they're just going around and rounding up any and everyone. It sounds like there's an actual method to the madness where they have a very specific formula built in place, right? But we're not capable of booting 11 million people at once. But I also don't think we're capable in the same breath of even granting mass amnesty, nor do I think we should try.
We absolutely are. We've done it before. Like that, we can't say which policy solution isn't possible. We've done it before. It absolutely is possible.
So 11 million people or billion? 11 million people, and we'd be able to track all of that. That's a lot of paperwork.
You don't have to track them. We just have to say, if you want to do this, and fill out this form.
How? And you think everybody's going to come forward?
If it meant getting citizenship, yes.
Okay. Calvin says, while illegal immigrants may benefit some industries, doesn't illegal labor also suppress wages in cleaning, lawn care, and construction? Also, shouldn't amnesty require English language assimilation?
I would have said yes to that maybe 2 weeks ago, but the recent study actually suggests that there's wage increases in low-skilled industries due to illegal immigration, so no.
I don't know if I could pay somebody $10 to do something. I'm definitely not going to hire someone to do 20.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things you have to consider here. So first thing is that, again, supply-demand feedback. So immigrants exert demand on the economy, that the employers or businesses will increase supply in order to meet that demand. In order to increase supply, you have to create new jobs. Second thing is that as illegal immigrants enter these lower-level positions, higher-level managerial positions will open up, which more experienced native workers typically fill. So we see like an average wage increase.
All right. Okay, well, that's the two that came in for you. Again, if you want to join the open panel Q&A, the link is in the live chat. Please feel free to jump backstage. I do have a few hanging out backstage. Effigy is going to come up here to yell at me. I just know it. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, poor Spin City's he's getting a headache from this. Welcome back, Spin. Clay, it's a pleasure. Kraut, welcome back again. Effigy's so mad at me. I can feel his keyboard burning. And Calvin, hello, my love. How are you?
Hey.
Hey. All right, Spin, you were backstage first. I assume you can be good and use good words and not just call cringy names. You'll save the name calling for later, but I know you have some questions and comments. I want you to ask them. No pass. You're not allowed. We got to work on this. You can do it. I believe in you. Had a great conversation with me the other day.
I did.
Go ahead.
You doxed yourself when you said you were in college. Can I ask what you're in college for? You said you were in housing. You were in a dorm. You said it at the beginning of the stream.
That's not doxing. There's many dorms, buddy. Okay.
Oh, I don't think he means like actually doxing where you live at. I think he means by your age. You gave away your age and your lack of experience in the world. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that like as a reality.
Yeah. It's a real question.
Cybersecurity. Yeah.
Cybersecurity. That's okay. Do you watch a lot of TikTok?
Not particularly.
Do you watch a lot of the news?
Yeah.
What news do you watch? Is it on TikTok? Is it on YouTube? Where?
Like when I go to like watch news, usually I'm just hearing things from like my friends, and I go look them up or read articles on those things.
Oh, hearing things. So that's news. Hearing it from your friends.
If you hear something and then you go to read an article on it, you're reading the news. Yeah.
Okay. So that's probably CNN, MSNBC, stuff like that, right? Just for semantics.
Usually like AP, Reuters, New York Times, Washington Post.
So let's get into just one thing, and Sarah, I will let other people because my brain is just like throbbing.
Sure.
You think that it's okay to have an open border?
When did I say that?
When did you say that? Your whole argument is illegal immigrants benefit America.
Yep.
You said that you would be perfectly okay with an illegal immigrant to open an illegal business. Now, see, today, Sarah, I got notes. I got 3 pages.
I didn't say I was okay with that. I said that would be like not benefit.
Yes, you did.
Be clear. Those are two very
different things. You did.
No, I didn't.
Shall I roll it back?
Yep.
Well, even at that, let's just assume he said it's still. Let's assume it's still a net. He said it's a net benefit. Roll with that. You could still make the argument.
Benefit. Tell me how it would be a net benefit.
It would
for an illegal to have an illegal business. And how would it be a benefit to society when real Americans can't do that?
It would add to your GDP.
I don't give a fuck about GDP. I ask a question.
Yeah, it would add to our
How
economy.
is it a benefit to America where an illegal business would benefit America when real Americans can't open illegal business?
Okay, well, how do you
answer the question? It's very straightforward, TikTok brain.
Sure. How do Americans being able to open legal businesses have anything to do with this? I'm just curious as to like what the relevance of that part of the question is.
It's a relevant question. Answer it.
Okay, true. So, I mean, can I get like an answer to that, or like what the relevance?
I ask you a question. I don't answer questions with questions. I answer questions with answers. Answer the question.
I mean, it's acceptable to ask what the relevance of a question is, and it's also acceptable to ask.
The relevance is you are for illegal immigrants doing illegal things. That's the whole crux of your argument.
Never said that.
It's the whole crux of your argument.
When did I say that?
Beginning of the stream where Sarah looked at you like you were dumb.
Beginning of the stream when I specifically said I'm not for illegal immigration and that I want these people to get some sort of legal status.
Legal status. So we should just walk across the border, do whatever the fuck we want. An illegal immigrant, I'm sorry. Just walk across the border, do whatever the fuck we want with no consequences. That is exactly what you're advocating for.
Do you like listen to
That's exactly why my brain hurts.
Do you like listen
and that's exactly why your brain needs to be reset.
Do you like listen to the opening statement at all, or are you just like picking your nose the whole time?
If you would like to go to insults, I could throw many. I am being nice.
That was a question, by the way.
I'm not going to answer the opening statement. Stupid questions.
Because it feels like
I asked you a very intelligent one. You're deflecting like your liberal ass does. Every liberal deflects every question of reality.
I mean,
you, sir, do not live in reality. I yield. I
was simply confused.
I yield.
Okay.
You did great.
Stop talking.
You did great, Sven. You didn't bring out the insults till the very end. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
He insulted me, so that's what he got back.
Fair enough. Sir. Hold on just a second. We're going to move around. It's a round robin right now. Mr. Clay, do you have questions, comments? Pat him on the back, kick him in the face. What you got here for us?
Yeah, I got some questions. Thank you, Cringy Liberal, for coming up. Thank you, Sarah, for hosting him. Certainly, it's a conversation worth having. Young people, in my mind, haven't really considered the whole totality of the circumstances in a lot of cases. And in this case, I think personally that you really haven't. That's not an insult. It's just something that I personally feel. So your whole premise here is that illegal immigrants benefit America. Mm-hmm. Now, you particularly honed in on the monetary part, the portion of financial, right?
Yep.
But you mentioned that they pay income tax. This is true. Now, I personally don't think that income tax is a legal income tax personally, but we're going to move past that because I don't know if you're aware of it, but the income tax is not the only place where finances in America come into play for illegal immigrants. So, for instance, education, regular criminal activity, we're not talking about the actual illegal immigration itself, healthcare, and welfare. You said that they don't qualify for welfare, but the fact is that
I said they don't qualify for the vast majority of federal welfare programs.
Right, but their children do 100%, almost every time. Get that welfare. So,
and I said that if you're going to count the expenditure of those children, you better count the benefits those children pay later in life, which is actually one of the critiques of a study that said that illegal immigrants were a net fiscal drain. That I have, so we can go over that if you want to. I can bring up the sources.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that during the open portion, but I just wanted to get to kind of a couple of main points so that we can do the round robin. But particularly education, healthcare, crime, and welfare are those portions where finances come into play. Now, if you actually add all that up, the cost, and I did a calculation here, it's 182 billion in the negative, whereas it's 96.7 billion.
Okay, so for healthcare, like, what do you mean by that?
All those portions together.
Like, okay, wait, for healthcare, like, how are they negative to how are they negative there?
And welfare. All four categories together equal up to about twice as much negative than the revenue that they actually bring.
Okay, let's start with the healthcare. How are they net negative healthcare wise? Like, what is?
Okay, so let me give you the figure here. What it actually is. Emergency uncompensated services 7.5 billion, 18.5 billion negative.
Okay, so if you I did my research on this before, actually 2 days ago, so I'm actually very lucky. If you look at the studies on immigrants and healthcare, at least especially illegal immigrants, actually, they typically pay in more into premiums than they take out, and they take out in like emergency healthcare benefits. So like
premiums for
healthcare
for private insurance companies,
public and private.
Public and private. So in reference to the public, that's all we're concerned about. So obviously, when it comes to private stuff, we don't care about that when it comes to GDP. Like, that's neither here nor there, because that's going to be an income tax thing. And then that company is going to pay into that, not the illegal immigrant. So when we're talking about healthcare emergency services, it's 7.5 to 18.5 billion.
Let me read this from this study. It says here, this cross-sectional analysis of 200,000 respondents to the medical expenditure panel survey and the current population survey, immigrants contributed 58.3 billion more in premiums than taxes in 2017 than insurers and the government paid for in healthcare. U.S. foreign citizens incurred a net deficit of 67.2 billion. Undocumented immigrants accounted for almost 89% of that. 89% of that surplus.
Okay, so where did you get that?
I'm sure. Want me to link it?
I mean, no. I don't even need a link or anything. Just tell me what place did the study, and I'll accept that they did the study.
Assessments of immigrants' premiums and tax payments for healthcare and their costs.
Okay. And I got my stats from house.gov.
Okay. And what was the study you're citing? Or like, who did the study?
7.5 and 18.
Who did the study?
So it's off of house.gov.
Oh, yeah. Who commissioned it? Like who is the person who, like, house.gov will like have people come in to write the reports. Who wrote the
for housing affordability, government budgets, and American workers? Prepared testimony of Stephen A. Camarada, Director of Research Center for Immigration Studies for U.S. House Oversight and Accountability Committee, Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs.
Yeah, so couple things.
Actual government doing the study.
Okay, couple things there. Couple things there. One, House committee report. House committee reports, especially from Republican House committees, notoriously unreliable. Okay. Number two, Number two, CIS explicitly
but now you're going to credibility. You're going to.
I'm not. Well, I'll attack the study itself. I'll attack the study. I'll attack
the actual study by the government. Now you can not trust the government. I don't trust the government. Also,
yeah. Number
that study came from the government, right? Whereas your study came from a test.
It didn't come from the government. It came from CIS.
That right there, house.gov oversight. That's the oversight committee. That's who did it. Now you might not trust the government.
CIS did it.
It says oversight house.gov.
Who gave the testimony?
It's literally right off of .gov.
Who did the testimony, buddy?
It's a bro. How is it like? So there's .govs. There's
so that was a question. That wasn't really an answer. So I'm gonna ask the question again. We can just do. It's okay. It's okay.
You don't like the government. That's okay. I get it. But
it's fine. We can just do that.
Here's the thing. You cannot trust the government, just like I don't trust the government. But let's move on to. Well, okay, we hit healthcare. Let's talk about education. Education, actually, it says that education is the biggest.
Do you really think I just let you walk off that point?
You don't.
Do you really think I just let you walk off that point, buddy? Okay.
You made your claim.
Who gave the testimony?
The audience can accept your claim, or they can accept my claim.
Who gave the testimony, Clay?
Bro, we're gonna sit here and argue back and forth about the same exact claim.
Number one, CIS explicitly an anti-immigrant. Wait, excuse me. CIS explicit. Excuse me.
Bro,
what? Okay. Excuse
me. How deep down the rabbit hole do you need to go before you say?
Barry, I want to engage into substance.
I already heard you say I don't trust that study.
I want to engage into study. Yeah, I'm going to tell you exactly why I don't trust the study. Number one. Okay.
And I don't trust your study. I don't care why you don't trust.
Did you read it?
Can you guys drop your links backstage for me, and I'll go look into them. I mean, we could say I don't accept your study. We could say I do accept your study. I think the best part we could.
I've actually read this, and I have like a legit critique of it, and he doesn't really seem to have any of mine. So I just would like to give the critique.
What's the critique?
Yeah, the critique basically is that CIS 1 is explicitly an anti-immigration think tank. Number 2, in that study specifically, or in the study that the testimony is referencing, the report, they explicitly count the benefits consumed by U.S.-born citizens of illegal immigrants, but they don't count the taxes paid by those people later in life. That was remember I was criticizing you for that. This is exactly the same problem with these kinds of studies done by CIS and FAIR.
I mean, aren't all studies biased though?
Sure, but this one had this. But it's not about like the study being biased or not. It's whether the methodology is okay or not. And the methodology of the study, that study was just dog water.
Okay. Well, if either of you want to drop those back in the private chat for me, and I can go dig into.
I did drop like 6 in the private chat. Sorry about that, but I do have like 5 or 6 to back up my claim.
I don't see anything in the private chat from you.
It's in the comments. Oh wait, no, that was in the comments, bro. Wait, did I just drop that into YouTube chat? Lol.
Probably.
Oh,
that's all right.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. All right, and Clay, do you have the link for yours, by chance?
So as you can see here, 2 of these have to do 2 or 3 of these have to do exclusively for legal immigrants, and then the rest are just about migrants in general.
All right. Clay, did you have any more questions to ask, or did you want, do you want to, I'll wait for you. You're muted right now.
Sorry. So I do most of my research on my phone. So because of that, I'm pulling it up on the.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I can swap it to the computer, but yeah, I just put it in the back. Yeah, so, I mean, essentially, you know, it's just chopped up to you don't trust the government as far as I'm concerned.
No, I'm telling you the methodology of the report is dog water.
Okay, so essentially, like I said, you're just chopping it up that you don't trust the government. Right?
No, the methodology of the report is dog water.
I'm just gonna chop it up to you don't trust the government.
This isn't a government bureaucrat. This is
look. I know that you're offended that I'm not going to accept your bullshit. Okay.
This isn't a government agency.
Hold on. What he's saying is, so when it's like people who try to do statistics but don't know how to do statistics. What Cringy is saying, now I don't know if it's true or not, but what he's saying is that the methodology that they utilize, it would be like if I ran a science test on something and I never used a placebo, right? Everything was a variable, so I didn't have any constant within the experiment, right? And so what he's saying is whatever the methodology is that they did, the science experiment that they ran in order to harness this research is done incorrectly according to Cringy. Now, I don't know what it is. I haven't dug into it, but that's all he's saying. It doesn't necessarily have to be just because it's the government. Even I could go run a science experiment right now and use a terrible methodology to do it, and somebody could critique me on the same thing, you know. So I think that's what he's saying.
I accept that, but the thing is it was done by the government, and in this case, he just doesn't trust the government.
I don't even really consider this to be done by the government. Even this is
I'm just gonna chop it up to that you don't trust the government.
This isn't really even the government.
It's not. Hold on, Clay. That's not what he said. I do hear you, but it's not what he's saying. No. Listen to what I'm saying. It could be a study done by a university. It could be a study done by some great, I don't know, immigration is good company. It could be a study done by the government. It doesn't matter. He's saying the methodology in which that study is done is incorrect.
I understand that.
He's not blaming it on the author necessarily or the person who produced or funded that study. He's saying the methodology inside of it is incorrect.
And who did it?
Anyone can do that.
And who did it? Who did the methodology?
They probably, I was going to say they probably hired somebody outside of it, though.
And when I say that, like, this is done by the government.
Center for Immigration Studies.
Center for Immigration Studies, that's government.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Sorry.
They do a lot of contracting for the government.
Basically, what I'm saying.
Okay. Maybe you don't understand how contracting works in the government, but this thing happens all the time where the government steps in. So, Effigy, I know that you want to chime in, bro. You're gonna get your turn.
It's a 501c3.
Yeah.
The CIS.
You gotta wait. I'll wait. You gotta wait.
It's a government contract.
This isn't like a government agency, really. It's just more like a lobbying group that has that a Republican House committee is asked to give testimony.
It's because it's Republicans. So
look, hold on. It says, hold on, Clay. Let me work through this with you. Clay, let me work through this with you. It says the Center for Immigration Studies is an independent, nonpartisan, nonprofit research organization founded in 1985.
This is crazy. I'm sorry, that partisan's fucking insane,
like said,
bro. There's no way.
Contracting works.
There's no way. There's no way to say he's not partisan.
Sarah, let me ask you something. You were in the military. Did government ever reach out to private corporations, even nonprofits, and I don't know, write contracts and do business with private corporations?
Yeah, this is a 501. This is a 501c3 organization. It looks like we participate in the combined federal campaign. I don't know what that is. It looks like they probably get federal grants.
This happens all the time. Yes. A lot of 501c3s get federal grants. Your tax dollars go to grants. In fact, the grant that you got to go to college, probably some of it came from federal tax dollars, just so you know. You probably didn't know that. But yes, sometimes grants come from federal tax dollars. The money that I pay into the system goes to funding 501c3s, grants, police grants. Where do you think police grants come from?
AKA Pale Grant.
Hold on.
Sorry, I was just giving the type.
This is Clay.
That's all.
This is Clay.
You're young, I understand, and I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm just telling you that you're not trusting the source, which is fine. I chop it up to personally me, not you, not blaming you for this either. Don't take it as an insult. I chop it up to that you don't trust the government, which is fine. I'm gonna leave it there.
It's not that I don't trust the government.
I'll pass it because you really can't understand basic words.
Yeah, I understand that you didn't read the study
and that
you're not knowledgeable on the specific topic enough in order to engage in the substance, but that's not me.
You don't understand basic words. I believe that you're an idiot. There you go.
All right, let's move on to Calvin. Calvin, what do you got for us, darling? Who's typing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, cool, we got you,
cool,
Calvin.
Cool. So yes, I have a few just a couple quick questions. First of all, I am an independent. This is probably one of the few areas that I probably lean with the right in terms of probably agreeing with a lot of their position in terms of this subject matter. Nevertheless, I did ask about the waste suppression and the cleaning and the lawn care, and I didn't hear your answer to that because I see them as suppressing wages in that industry, and I didn't recall.
I said that there might be really specific industries that they do in fact suppress wages in, but I'm not really looking at that. I'm looking at, are they net benefit or suppressing wages across the whole economy? The answer to that is largely absolutely not, no. So even in like the lower skilled industries, there seems to be like wage benefits for native citizens rather than wage decreases. And then actually, I'll just send you over the studies. There's quite a few of them, but I'll just send them over, all of them over.
But I mean, that's not necessarily because I mean, I just want to. I know for a fact, from my personal experience, well, colloquial experience, well, that I've seen the impact there.
Okay, here's my studies there.
The other thing is, did you also talk about like the benefits in terms of Social Security? Because I hear that's like one of the benefits.
Yes.
Okay, so you talked about that earlier. What'd you say about that? I apologize.
Yeah, these people tend to be younger, so they'd be paying into Social Security. This would it would help the program from going insolvent, since our population is quickly aging.
Okay, and then my last question is, so if we were to resolve this issue today, right? Let's say we got some type of resolution, whatever the case would be. What is your policy moving forward in terms of illegal immigrants? Should we find another batch like a group of like 1,000 undocumented? They've been here for like three years. What is your goal, or what is your policy moving forward?
If there aren't too many of them, then just deport them, probably.
If there aren't too many of them.
Yeah, like I mean, if there isn't like 11 million, literally, then just deport them. So if there's like 100, if there's like 100 who try to cross the border, or who cross the border and been here for a week, then just deport them. Yeah.
Okay, so 100. So but okay, so your cutoff is like probably in the millions or something.
I don't know what probably in the millions. Yes, almost certainly. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, just want to clarify. Fine. So your policy is definitely like closed border, current format that the president has in place.
I don't know what people mean by closed border. When my border policy is just that in order to stop all of the, I guess, border crisis people talk about, you just have to expand pathways for legal immigration, and you can just like significantly decrease funding in DHS and like CBP and all of those services, right? Because they're just like a gigantic fiscal burden.
Huh? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yes, my border policy would basically be defund CBP, defund DHS a lot. You don't have to completely defund them, but do like lower their funding, and then just increase pathways for legal immigration to mitigate illegal immigration, since that is like basically the only way short of complete and total militarization of the border.
Am I the only one confused?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
Yeah, I'm advocating for CBP and DHS to be defunded, and for just substantially, and then for an increase in legal pathways for immigrants to mitigate illegal immigration and incentivize legal immigration.
So instead of protecting our borders, you say we just extensively amplify our places in which people can get their free pass in.
Well, okay, you say protecting our border. What I'm suggesting is a form of border protection, because it literally does mitigate illegal immigration. And actually, the militarization of the border that's been happening hasn't proven at all to be like effective at reducing border crossings. In fact, I'll send you over the studies in that right now.
Really?
There. Yes.
That's interesting. You put more people at the border, and you say that it's not decreasing passage. That's interesting. Okay, well, he's gonna put that back there. I don't want to see that. And you can, I guess, I'm finished here, Sarah.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. Effigy, what you got for me?
I mean, everybody seems surprised. Like when you get rid of the thing that fuels the negative effects, then yeah, you get the positive effects. So making a whole bunch of people who you have deemed to be illegal with these negative status, giving them a positive status would have a shitload of positive effects. Economically, I feel there's no argument here. There's just not. Because half the time you'll hear right-wingers, for some odd reason lately, try to argue how mistreated they are. And that's kind of like the entire capitalistic idea, is that they're kind of being used as an underclass, right? Well, no one really likes that. So legalize them. You know, the part of the problem that breaks capitalism is when you force there to be kind of caste systems over your class systems. Undocumented people are a net benefit. They're generally paying into things that they themselves will never benefit from. And even the places, the states that actually do try to funnel some money toward them, it's a pittance compared to the amount that goes to Americans and legal immigrants anyway. I'm pretty much with Cringy Liberal on most of what he was saying. I think there are easy ways to fix this, but I think the arguments that the right makes belies the fact that the things they're saying that they care about, they don't. Like, it's like saying you care about the rules. It's like, well, you selectively care about the rules. It's obvious from the last 12 years of us in politics who's been paying attention. It's obvious that the right wingers don't care about all the rules, right? Come on. I think the right would say the same thing about the left. They don't care about all the rules, right? It's all very selective. But yeah, also, I just like to say, Clay, oh my God, you dug that hole so damn deep for no damn reason. Just because it's on House Gov, it just meant it was read on the fucking record. Everybody uses studies from think tanks. It doesn't mean it's made by the government. Huh. Sorry, banging my head on the keyboard on that one.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'll just I'll wait until the rest of the gauntlet kicks in because I'm just adding stuff to.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you're up here.
Cringy.
I knew this one would call you out. I knew you'd be up here for this one.
And yeah, the first 2 hours, Sarah, you were fucking wrong. You're saying all kinds of wrong shit. You wrong person.
I'm wrong, Sarah. I love you so much, Effigy. All right, Corral to you, sir. What you got for Cringy?
Hey, how you doing? First off, I want to ask for your position in the most clearest way possible. You believe that illegal immigrants shouldn't cross the border, but the ones here now incentivize them to get all their paperwork in order? Am I strongmanning you correctly?
Well, I want to give the ones who are here now amnesty. I want to give them like a form of legal status.
Every single one of them?
The ones who have been here for more than 2 years and have committed a violent crime. I mean, there could be other specifications, but for most part, yeah.
Okay. All right. Sir, I'm not going to go into it in detail because I know you actually have a debate about it, but you don't believe illegal immigrants can benefit from the system, right? They don't get free stuff from the government?
They can. They just very rarely do.
Okay. Now, do you believe they're...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Do you believe their kids can benefit from the government?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you believe in birthright citizenship?
Yes.
Okay. So by through their kids, illegal immigrants can get more benefits from the government through their kids. Would you agree with that?
Potentially.
I mean, they do by every metric. They do. We can agree on that, right?
If you list somebody as if you're doing taxes and you're listing somebody as a dependent, you yourself in a lot of cases also have to have like a social security number. So it depends on what exactly you're talking about.
All right. Well, when I feel like we can't come to an agreement, even a slight agreement, I try not to harp on this. So I'm just going to move. I got like 2 more things to point out, and then I'll hand it over to the next person because I got to go to sleep on the way. I got work in the morning.
Okay.
Excuse me. What was I going to say? Damn, I actually lost track. Give me a second.
Cringy, are you playing a game or something?
I am, bro. These guys are taking so long.
All right. Oh yeah.
Hold up, Cringy. They're here for you.
Oh yeah, hey man. Undivided attention, brother. Get off your game, man. Come on.
Bro, can't even stop doing this.
Because
playing a game.
Trust me, bro. I'm locked in with these studies.
I got my thought. I don't want to lose it, man. You know, show Sarah and the rest of the panelists a little more attention. Now, do you have a problem with deporting illegal immigrants because you might think it's based on race?
There a problem with foreign illegal deporting? No, it's not my problem with deporting illegal immigrants. I do think the reason that people want to deport them is because they're brown, though. I do think that's generally like a lot of the reason.
So that's one of your issues with deporting illegal immigrants.
It's not one of my issues. It's one of my issues of people who advocate for the deportations.
Okay. Let me rephrase it. So you have a problem with people that advocate deportations for illegals because you believe it's based that they're brown, right?
Yes, a lot of times, yes.
Okay, that's wrong. I mentioned it in the chat. I should have put it on the super chat. Oh yeah, Sarah, I'm B Sharp. I don't know if you remember that, but B Sharp's my YouTube name. But anyways,
Yep.
Look up how many. I'm German Irish. Look up how many Irishmen got deported just last year, and I'm for it because they either committed a crime when they were on their visa,
Yeah, I'm
which
not saying
in
every single one
well,
of you.
I'm just
It's a
showing
lot
you
of
it's not
people.
about race. I mean, yeah, I'll grant it. There's probably some conservatives out there that are fucking
Well, it
scumbag
just seems to
racists
be.
that
I
want.
think it's a substantial portion because when you hear the rhetoric that, especially Donald Trump's views, like the, like about the Haitian immigrants or about the Somalians or about the import the third world, get the third world, or like poisoning the blood of our country. All of these things like speak very heavily towards like I don't like brown people. And then if I'm debating somebody on this and I go through all of their and I address everything they've said and they still believe in their same position, I have a really hard time believing that they the only reason I can like believe that they still have that believe in that position is because they don't like brown people or just don't like immigrants. So,
Hey, Crowd, can I ask you a question, man? Is
Hold
English
on,
your
hold on. We're still in one at a time. It's round robin. Go ahead.
Well, I
Kraut.
mean, look, statistically, it's probably going to be more brown people that get deported because, you know, a lot of illegal immigrants are from Mexico, and I believe even from a couple other areas that are a lot closer to America. But you like I said, there's white people that are getting deported, so it's not a race issue. I know you might believe people that believe in illegal immigration want that to happen because they're racist, and there probably are some that are racist, but it's not a global phenomenon. You can't categorize illegal immigration just because of race. You know what I mean? And I just want to bring up one more point. Do you honestly feel that illegal immigrants here bring a deficit to America, or a I'm stuck on stupid. I can't the word opposite of deficit, like
net
a
positive.
benefit.
I don't
Yeah,
believe
net
that. I
positive.
can't read all the studies and have a research document this big on immigration and like not believe that this is the case. Yeah, I definitely do.
Well, I I believe at the end of the day, you should come here legally. Like I made that super chat about someone come here illegally, and you know you don't want those in. We already established that, but you want people that are here to remain here and give a sentence for them to get their paperwork. But that still makes it where people that did come here legally and get their paperwork, they got to wait in line longer and longer. You know, if you're waiting in line for a buffet and somebody cuts in front of you, you know, you got to wait 5, 10 more minutes to get your food. Probably even longer than that because they just ran out of the steak, so they got to bring more out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You heard about that guy that killed those people in Florida, the CDL driver? You didn't hear about that, did you?
No.
That's another problem I got with illegals. They can barely understand English. That might seem like, yeah, I'm not a racist. I despise racism, but if you can't comprehend basic English skills or writing, why are you even driving in this country? You know what I mean? There's a lot of problems with legal immigrants. But Sarah, if you allow, I want to hand it off. But Angry American wanted to ask me a question, if that's cool.
Yeah, just wait for the gauntlet, guys.
All right.
Are you done with your questions, Kraut?
Yeah, for now.
Okay. A scratch to you. Questions, comments, what you got?
I just want to ask Cringy, just for the audience, can you explain like circular versus straight migration patterns to them? Sure. Yeah, basically circular migration patterns are going to be immigrants who come here, maybe temporarily work, go back to their country, right? It's cyclical. There's going to be a circular cycle there. Straight migration patterns are just people who are in another place and they immigrate straight to that place and then they stay there. This is relevant basically because before the militarization of the border, there used to be like a circular or cyclical pattern of immigration, and it turned into a straight pattern of immigration post the militarization of the border, which caused an increase in illegal immigration essentially. And that's because people realize that if they're risking crossing the border over and over again just to work somewhere temporarily, there's more of a chance that they're going to get stamped with these 5-year, 10-year permanent or even like permanent bans from the country, or even go to jail for it. So they're more encouraged to stay in the country illegally. So the population of illegal immigrants is just going to keep increasing. Correct? Yep. Cool. I want to ask you, is on the House.gov website, right? For the what is it? The Republican Budget Committee. Is Cato's refutation of the CIS study on there? On the House.gov thing? Yeah.
No.
It's in the testimony, though, right?
Cato gave testimony that spoke. Well, actually, wait. Yeah, no, I'm wrong. They gave testimony that countered these studies. Correct.
So it would be on the House.gov.
Yes, it would be on. Yes, correct.
So
that is another point.
If we're going by his standard, I just want to just be clear, right? You would also mistrust the government because there's literally another agency on there refuting the exact study that you were citing from the House.gov website. But both of these are independent agencies. So just to point that out. I want to just like a basic question because I keep hearing this come up a lot. Do you think like the average illegal immigrant is better off in like Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, or better off here?
Definitely here, obviously. There's no question about it.
Absolutely, right? I think people like make these like kind of bleeding heart, like try to appeal to like people who are pro illegal immigration, or in the sense like the people are at least already here of, oh, right, they're being exploited. They're definitely better than like El Salvador, definitely better than Honduras. Also to address Pew Research, the study, it's kind of a while ago, it was like 2014. The average wage for an illegal immigrant is like $36,000 every year. So that's above the poverty line, and that amounts to about $18 an hour. So be more of exaggerating the like this effect. And I just want to point out, right? Wait, are you familiar? I think Cringy, you know what IRA is, right? From the Clinton administration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's your opinion on that? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, one of the policies that directly increased illegal immigration, right? Contributed to militarization of our border. Literally was one of the reasons we have all the illegal immigrants here now.
That's right. Oh, this is completely irrelevant. Is it true that like people who tend to be older, they tend to have low IQs due to things like leaded gas, asbestos, and being exposed to more chemicals in the past?
Yeah, I would assume so. Maybe maybe problem with some of our older panel members. Not talking about Sarah, but maybe Clay.
Well, okay. I just want to make sure, you know, that might explain some of the opinion. You never know. Anyways, I'm done.
Wasn't lead issues and asbestos like that was bigger in what, like the 60s, 70s maybe?
That's like Gen X and like the generation prior.
Yeah, I think even the 90s, asbestos was a big problem.
Well, the primary generations affected by this would be Gen X, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, I don't think anyone here is that old, right?
Maybe they got papers in their brains.
Okay, Gen X.
I think Gen X is what, like 40
You're in your, like,
something
40s, 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
Leaded gas wasn't even banned until 1996.
I am. I'm Gen X.
It's true.
Leaded gas wasn't even banned until
Too
1996.
soon. Not that far out there.
All right. But Scratch, I wanted to ask you one thing because you brought up the idea of how people from Guatemala would be better here than in Guatemala. But I mean, if that's the case, then all the starving children in Africa, right? I mean, this is what my generation grew up being threatened with. There's starving children in Africa. I think we should just go over and grab all of the starving children in Africa and bring them here. Why not? We should just bring them over here. And my point to that is I don't have any pity or empathy for anyone in another country who has it bad at this rate. Nobody gives a fuck about us, and I refuse to give a fuck about them. If you came here hoping for opportunity to get away from a bad situation, yada, 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 whatever, and if you deem this place to be the best place for you, well, there shouldn't be any reason why you can't do it legally. And if you have to come and do it illegally, that's not my fucking problem, right? I consider myself blessed to be born here in the USA and to be an American citizen. It is a privilege, not a fucking right. Okay. And I don't think it's fair to say, oh, like your country sucks and you're safer and doing better here. You should just come here and do this. Like that's that suicidal empathy kind of problem. Where we feel bad for people for being in shitty circumstances, but in that same breath, we screw ourselves over or give way and give leeway to things that we wouldn't normally give way to, and then we end up fucked over at the end. That's what I have to say about that piece. But I hear what you're saying. Certainly, everyone would be better here. That's why everybody wants to come here. But it wouldn't be a place where everybody would want to come to if we just let everyone in.
Well, but apparently it's a horrible country, Sarah.
I just respond to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason I know you're talking about like, oh, this is like empathy, right? I'm suicide empathy. Cringy did not bring up the fact that like trafficking was happening or the fact that these people are being exploited. You did, right? That's why I called it concern growing. Because I wasn't, Cringy wasn't the one being empathetic. I wasn't saying we need to take these people in because it's so bad in Guatemala. I was just saying you guys don't care about the fact that they're being exploited and you're just trying to appeal to us, even when they are actually better here, right?
No, I'm saying, hold on. I'm saying you're going to come here and be exploited. I said that's pretty close to slavery, mind you, right? I would say because of that very situation, they should stay where they're at and deal with the situations that they were born into and have to deal with. And maybe there's another country that, why don't they go somewhere else? I hear Europe's great for immigration. Why don't they go somewhere else? Right?
It's kind of like the Atlantic Ocean between Guatemala and Europe. So,
but if you want
it is
to
what it is.
Tommy, stop. This is one person at a time. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just way easier for people to come to America, right? It's in the next place with the most amount of opportunities.
So
once again, I'm not making an argument that we have to take them in because it's so bad. I'm just saying that if we're going to make the argument of, oh, they're being exploited, it's way worse in the other countries. Like if we actually care about the people here, we want the legal immigrants here to not live the worst life possible. That's not
my concern. I think if you're going to come here,
I think if you're going
to come here and be exploited, you deserve to be exploited at that rate. Like, I don't give a fuck. But if you're going to say like, oh, well, they're better here than they are in Guatemala. Well, but you don't deserve to be here yet. You haven't earned that right. You just walked over and said, I'm going to do this now. Right. I don't think you should have access to anything. I don't think you should be able to. I don't think your kids should be allowed to go to school. I don't think you should be able to tap into any resources. I don't think you should be able to get housing. I don't think you should be able to do any of it. You have the perseverance to jump the fence and swim through the Rio Grande to get here. Well, you need to figure it out without tapping into anything that we have to offer.
Okay.
Why if we stopped giving them, let me say it this way. Okay. If we stopped allowing them to tap into any of the benefits of being an American citizen here, meaning renting apartments, having medical care, even free emergency services, like whatever, anything that we have to offer, I don't think you should be allowed to have it if you're illegal.
I hate this. Is unfortunately, you're just not tracking the argument, right? The point is, right, you're saying, I'm not concerned about these people being exploited. I'm not concerned about them being human trafficked. But yet you thought it was a relevant point to bring up the Cringy when he was saying, oh, well, I think people are like a net benefit to the economy. They're providing us labor. It's like, so you basically want slavery. Because what you do there, when somebody is saying that, they're trying to say, hey, these people are being exploited. This isn't good for them. Why do you want them here? You're just allowing people to be exploited. You're just allowing slavery.
I'm making the point that the only
reason
they are a net benefit is because they're being utilized only 2 degrees away from slavery. That's the only reason why they're a net benefit.
If you don't care about that, right? If you don't care about the fact that they're being utilized 2 best away from slavery, I don't think being paid $18 an hour and making $36,000 a year in 2014.
Then here's what we should do. We should go get the starving children in Africa, bring them on over, pay them $3 an hour. That's what I'm saying. If we do this, we might as well do that at that rate. And then we can make it work however we want to work it. We can operate under whatever rules we want to operate under. All I'm saying is that like the only reason there is a net benefit is because we're utilizing it like a slave trade. Like you do understand that.
How is that relevant to the argument?
Because they're not doing things legally, therefore they're not operating under a legal system, right? So we're because we're able to exploit them. Oh yeah, is if you pay your federal taxes under this special number, we might consider that good behavior later when we grant you amnesty or whatever. Or if you get caught, we might say, well, you've been paying into the system, it's okay. So pay us your money and we might be nice later when it comes to granting you citizenship.
If an illegal immigrant came over here and was being paid like $80,000 a year, would you call that exploitation?
If you're an illegal citizen coming over here getting paid $80,000 a year, I expect your ass to be legal.
Would you consider that exploitation if that happened?
No, they're exploiting our system
so I don't
now.
know. So obviously, right? Obviously, whether
But
they're
he
coming
already
over,
said
obviously
that
the
they
legality,
make under
obviously the
what
legality of this doesn't-
20,000.
the
He
legality
already
of this doesn't-
said
the legality of this doesn't have to do with the exploitation. That was a completely separate point. So I don't see how is it relevant to the conversation of illegal immigrants if you really don't care about this to bring up the exploitation. And the reality is, the only reason you brought that up is to try and appeal to Cringy and to the bleeding heart liberals, as you perceive us on the panel, and try and say you guys are the ones exploiting these people, even when you guys care about it. And when I bring up the point, well, look, if that's what you're accusing us of, then obviously it's not as good as Guatemala. So that's not really a good argument to appeal to us.
Why are we concerning ourselves with other people's problems? If they're in another country, they're not my problem.
Look, I never said that they are our problem. That's not what I was saying.
You're willing to grant, hey, it's worse off there than it is here. They have better opportunities here, so we should just let them in. We should just grant amnesty.
I'm not making a positive claim that we need to take them in because they're being exploited, right? Or because it's worse off in Guatemala than being here and like potentially being exploited. I'm making the claim that that you don't care about this. This is concern trolling, and that if you really cared about them, the only reason you brought that point is to try and appeal to us, right? I was never making a positive claim that
I'm not appealing to anything. I'm just saying you're okay with them being exploited here. And you're okay. You're okay with that. You're okay with illegal immigrants here and what they're doing.
Yeah, and you're trying to bring that up because you perceive me, right? And Cringy, I'm guessing Bones.
You're
and like
saying because they have it worse there than they do here.
I'm saying if somebody really cares, right? If somebody really cares about how well any given person or legal immigrant doing society, the logical choice is to keep them here and not deport them. That's the only thing I'm saying, right? If they're already within the country. I'm not saying we need to bring in more people. I never made that claim. And the only reason I ever said that was in response to you saying they're being exploited because you specifically, right, brought that up to try and appeal to us to say that we're perpetuating exploitation and human trafficking.
Yeah, so why would we continue to allow that to happen?
Oh my God, bro. Okay, we can move on.
Send them back home.
We can move on.
Send them back home so they can be exploited even worse.
That's their problem. That's where you started. That's not my problem.
Absolutely,
okay. Starving children in Africa. Let's go get them all. Bring them all.
Here's the solution.
No, we should feel bad for everyone,
increase the
Bones.
amount of worker protections
bring
for
them all
illegal immigrants, or you could also do mass amnesty programs, which, by the way, based Reagan. Woo.
Wait, has Bones went yet?
It's Bones' turn now. Go ahead, Bones.
It is my turn to spurg. Anyways, Cringy. So illegal immigrants and immigrants abroad have a net negative fiscal impact in the communities that they live in, as well as the states and the nation, at least in the short term. How does this kind of bear out in the long term?
Absolutely, just net positive long term. But I mean, you could probably even argue in the short term, illegal immigrants are probably a net fiscal benefit at the federal level, but in the long term, almost certainly, in every respect, they're fiscally positive, right?
Yeah, how so?
You can look at the Cato Institute study, or I think even the CBO. The CBO is split on this one, but I think the CBO even said that there's probably beneficial long-term outcomes to illegal immigrants and just immigrants in general on the state and local level.
Based. All right. Would we go even further to say that maybe like the kids as well, like if they have kids, they go through the education system, would they be more likely to have a net positive fiscal impact in the long term?
Yeah, obviously, of course.
Based.
They're more educated. They're going to make more money.
Exactly. I like that. And also to kind of tie this up, what other groups of people would also have like a net negative fiscal impact that would be citizens within the country?
U.S. citizens who are children. Right, first 18 years of your life, almost certainly going to be a net drain.
True. What about educational attainment? Does that play a factor in that?
Of course it would. Educational attainment is going to play a factor in where you end up in society, and where you end up in society. So when they're able to have access to their education system, they're going to end up making more money. They're going to almost certainly end up being fiscally positive.
It's all right. I see Spin City and Claire like pantomiming to each other or something like that in the background, and that's distracting me. But yeah, that's all I have.
Fair enough. And kind reminder to the audience, it appears the dono goal thing is not working. I don't know why or how or what happened with that. But you're currently 4 out of 10 on the dono goal. And if you want the gauntlet, you had better finish the rest of it. You have 6 minutes to do it. All right, go ahead, Mr. Tommy Smith.
Hello, everybody. Want to tell you that I am here in Kansas City, and I don't want to say I came here illegally, but I'll tell you I'm fucking American, yeah? That's why my name is Tommy. But I have an important question for you, sir. If two Mexicans, they crossed the border, one became a landscaper, we'll call him Tommy. He paid taxes, he started a business, and I hired 12 Americans. But another guy, you call him Scott, and he was born in America, but he's still living in his mother's garage tweeting about lazy immigrants. Which one should be deported?
Scott, obviously, clearly. So clearly, Scott. Scott's a bum and a chud.
But if Scott was born in America, how do you deport him? To Mexico?
Of course. No, you deport him to the Pacific Ocean. That's where you deport him to.
But if Mexico, but if Tommy came from Mexico, then how does he go back to the Pacific Ocean?
We fly him there and just drop him off.
Hey, my friend, I think when I was in school in Mexico and Tijuana, we learned geography, but you seem to have learned the geography from where you learned your politics from some kid named Shadow Wolf on the fucking TikTok eating Takis.
We need to port Scott to the Pacific Ocean, drop him off straight over, let him take a dive.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why did the Mexican cross the border?
To get to the other side.
No, because
No, did he cut out?
the gringos need someone to pick the tomatoes. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah.
I crossed the border because I heard that the tomato crossed first, and the Americans, the gringos, need someone to pick them.
Why are the tomatoes getting a shot in here?
Because I read the New York Times and I have a smart brain, and I want to ask our friend, since you're so pro-immigrant, I have a problem and you can solve. I have 3 cousins, they all in Tijuana. And if you can provide the nice housing for them and opportunity, then I can get the tickets and they can come and you can put your money where your mouth is.
Bro. Hop in my DMs, bro. I got you. Just hop in my DMs. We can figure that shit out.
So you have space in your mother's basement?
I have space in my mother's basement. That is correct.
Thank you very much. I'm going to DM you.
And Tom Carpenter sent the big 20, says, yeah, that generation was so stupid. He's referring to Gen X. They built the whole internet you're on right now.
So good try, Shaman. I just have to say, good try. You were exposed, sir.
And just a reminder, if you want Gauntlet, you had better hit that dono goal. You have 6 more to go, and you only have 3 minutes to do it in. And I actually put the lower dono goal on tonight. I felt nice. So hit it, or we're not going to have full Gauntlet mode. And I also have Rinyald hanging out backstage, too. Vibe, you got a question? Bye.
Oh yeah, shoot! I'm up. Nice.
Yay!
I love it, Sarah. Good to see you. Yeah, no, I mean I love this topic. Like I think about it and talk about it all the time. When it really comes down to, so I'm going to stick to the prompt, right? Illegal immigration benefits America.
Illegal immigrants benefit America. I want to be. It's very illegal immigrants benefit America. It's very specific.
Illegal immigrants benefit America, right? So I can say, yes, they do. They make my avocados cheaper. They make my oranges cheaper. No, this is true. This is true. These are facts. I'm not actually making this stuff up because the farms are the major employers of illegal immigrants, right? And of course, it is exploiting them because the farms can't afford minimum wage. And if they do, then the prices go up. So it's part of competitiveness, right? And if we look at this, it does benefit America. So yes, the answer is illegal immigration benefits America for the rich. Well, not the rich, actually the higher middle class that are producing products at a lower price because they can exploit the illegal immigrants. Now, does it actually help America? No, right? So we can be really simple on this. And it sounds like we have left and right here. And I just want to see like a raise of hands here. How many people think we should just open the borders 100%, no regulations at all? How many people? Anybody?
Okay.
Okay, right. So we want to have some regulations, and the definition of illegal is actually saying that regulation. We're not saying we don't want anybody to come into this country. We're saying we want people to come to this country, but we have a budget. The country has a budget. We have medical costs, we have road costs, we have taxes, we have all these things. We have a budget, and you can't just have somebody randomly show up or a million people randomly show up, because it ruins the budget and it breaks America completely. So when we're bringing people in, we're not saying nobody comes in. We're just saying go through the correct process. And how am I incorrect in any of that thinking?
No, ostensibly everything you said, not everything, but a large part of what you said wasn't true, which is that illegal immigrants are fiscally positive on the federal level, almost certainly on the state level over their lifetimes. I mean, we can send over to Cato Institute study on that one if you want to. They don't have access to the vast majority of federal welfare programs, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. In fact, they're a net benefit payer into programs like Social Security.
Okay, so
and
the
then, I guess on the front of
don't get the benefits of being illegal, just like people that broke laws and go to jail don't have the benefits that people that are free have, correct?
Yeah, but you're saying they're like they're messing up the budget. They're not really taking anything in from our budget, or they're not being a fiscal drain. They're being a fiscal net positive. So it doesn't really seem to be the case.
It is a physical drain.
Fiscal?
For sure, right? So first off, these guys are coming in, they're breaking. So we're setting minimum wages. We're setting like living wages, which actually I'm against also. But we are. And the only reason we're hiring the illegals is because employers don't want to pay those rates, right? So now we are exploiting them. But just to go back to what I said, anybody want to raise their hand of just opening the border? If you're saying that it's okay for illegals to come in, because you are, if you're saying it's not okay for an illegal to come in, but if they make it over the border, we should give them all the benefits. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, so you said everything I just said was wrong, but you said
illegals
don't get all the benefits that the illegals do. Yeah.
I said what's not true is saying that illegal immigrants are a problem or a fiscal problem or a fiscal net drain. That isn't true. They're fiscally net positive.
Okay, explain to me how they're a physical or how they're a financial net positive outside of what I just said. Basically taking the minimum wage away, right? Because the only reason they get employed is because we can employ them under minimum wage, right? So we're trying to enforce laws. They come in here illegal, and then we have Americans that are actually going, great, I can hire this illegal because he's illegal. I can do whatever I want.
So number one, if you look at the industries illegal immigrants typically work in, there's labor shortages in those specific industries, right? So I would say the reason they're getting hired is one, there's labor shortage. Two, probably they can pay them cheaper. Number two is that illegal immigrants pay income tax via ITN numbers. A lot of times they'll even end up paying Social Security, some of them fraudulent Social Security numbers. I'm not sure how much that contributes though, but overall they don't have access to like most federal welfare programs, and because of that and the little amount that you pay in, they end up being a fiscal benefit to our government.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that this mismatch of like, hey, like here in California, you can be an illegal alien and you can still get a driver's license, which just blows my mind, right? Like I'm like, you're here illegally. As soon as you go get a driver's license, they should freaking arrest you and send you back to your country because you're here illegally, right? That's the whole thing about illegal immigrant. And I know the left loves to change it to undocumented. So, like, you know, if I'm a drunk driver, but I've never gotten pulled over,
I wrote the prompt.
So
what are we doing right now? I wrote the prompt, bud. Okay. I put illegal immigrant there. I don't know. There's nothing to get offended at. I didn't put.
I don't know. You did good by saying that because that is actually a true statement. I just know a lot of people on the left have changed illegal immigrant over to undocumented. And I'm like, what's like basically it's like pro-life. The opposite is anti-life, but they said, oh yeah, no, we're body autonomy. They just changed the word to make it sound better. So I'm proud of you for choosing the prompt and keeping it legitimate.
Yeah, it's just
this is just cringy right here. I'm actually under the INA, it's unauthorized immigrant, so you should change the prompt to the correct answer.
I have a theory.
True.
I have a theory that Scratch is actually like a pre-recorded version of Cringy without glasses and with he combed his hair differently.
That works right. So you would expect that.
Look, I still can't tell them apart sometimes.
I know.
It's terrible.
So Cringy, what is the benefit then that you're saying? Because you wrote the prompt, right? So what is the benefit? And and if it is a benefit, should we just remove illegal and just go, come on in?
They benefit the wages of native workers. They benefit our GDP. They benefit us fiscally. Those are all the benefits of illegal immigration and illegal immigrants. They benefit Social Security as well. But again, I'm not really advocating for things like mass deportation, because I guess what you're saying, just deport them all, or just deport them as soon as they get a driver's license or whatever. It's kind of ridiculous to deport 11 million people. It's kind of it would certainly cause a recession, certainly cost $1 trillion. And if we're talking about budgetary problems or problems with our economy, that would cause way more catastrophe than any sort of mass amnesty program or any sort of thing I'm advocating for.
Yeah, I mean, I can sit there and say anything is a net benefit. You just said like a net benefit, but you didn't give any actual examples.
Or GDP, like our GDP increases because of illegal immigrants.
Why? How do the illegal immigrants increase our GDP?
Because GDP is gross domestic product. They work jobs, aka they produce products, so they increase gross domestic product.
And I know you had mentioned that they're doing jobs that nobody else wants, right? And they're being exploited for those jobs, correct?
Nobody else wants. They're producing jobs in industries that have higher unemployment levels.
Right. And are those? I mean, I actually don't believe in that statement, because I think there's actually people that want that job, but I think they're not being granted that job because the employer has the illegal immigrant source and isn't going to hire them in the first place because he can actually pull these illegal immigrants.
When I say that, there's like literally a shit ton more job openings in these industries than usually in the rest of the economy. That's for one. Number two, there's actually a survey done by the BLS, very interesting survey, in fact, on why people who aren't participating in the workforce are participating. One of the least cited reasons is because the job prospects / pay opportunities aren't good enough. Most of the number one reason cited is when I just don't want to work a job, right? I have other things. I want to play video games. I don't want to work a job. The number two reasons, like family responsibilities or something, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, most of the people who aren't participating in the workforce are actually, I think over 2/3 of them are over the age of 55, so probably just early retirees. And the rest of them just don't want to work, and they're not going to work. You can't convince them to.
I mean, in one sense, when you're talking about like even black people, like why would they want to take that job? I actually will agree with you in the sense that their social benefits of being an American are actually better than demoting themselves to doing that minimum labor or that hard labor with minimum return job. So I would say the problem is more
option on the survey, though. They could have said like, oh, the job opportunities aren't good enough. They're not paying enough or whatever. They didn't pick that option, though. They had the opportunity to pick that on the survey. They didn't pick that option. In fact, I'll send it over here.
While you're sending that, ladies and gentlemen, I have opened up the gauntlet compliments of Tom Carpenter. I'll get through those super chats here in just a second. But if you are watching over on the Raging Tomatoes side, I am officially shutting down that side. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, whatever else I'm streaming on, and we are all moving to the Gauntlet. If you're watching on the Raging Tomato, I dropped the link in the live chat. Click it, move over to the Gauntlet, or catch the raid. We'll see you over there. Thank you.